Welcome to the HEARTS Entwined podcast. In this podcast, we'll be having discussions around the secrets which attract lasting, healthy, fulfilling relationships, creating a healthy mindset, and what women should know and understand about men. Introducing your host, Lyn Smith, the Queen of Hearts, relationship expert, trainer, speaker, and best-selling author of the Cupid's Bow technique. Lyn's mission is to have a positive impact in reducing divorce, domestic violence, and suicide.
Welcome to the HEARTS Entwined podcast. This is your host, Lyn Smith, the Queen of Hearts. And today, listeners, we've got a very important topic. This topic is how to get more attention and affection from your man. And I know a lot of you out there will benefit from this conversation. I've got a superb expert guest. Her name is Cristie Cerniglia. I think I pronounced that right. She's a relationship coach for women. So welcome, Cristie.
Hi, thank you, Lyn. Yeah, you did really well with my name.
Thank you. I do my best. So to start with, Cristie, in terms of how to get more attention and affection from your man, what actually started you on this path of making that sort of a specialist area for you?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, I think it happened back when I was 17 years old. I was getting ready to start my senior year of high school. And out of the clear blue sky, my father announced that he was leaving. And so my parents went through a very sudden and surprising divorce. And it was super painful at that age and really has continued to be an issue for me, a challenge, let's say, my whole life. And so I've always been passionate about marriage and family. And in fact, it put such a fear in me. I told everybody I'll never get married. But the Lord had other plans for me. And I met my husband and married him. And so when things started to get bumpy in our marriage, I thought this is not going to happen to me. So I really went on a deep dive to find resources that could help me refresh and revive my marriage. And that's when I found Laura Doyle and the book, The Empowered Wife. And that's when everything changed for me. The first time I met with a relationship coach, I said, I want to do what she's doing. This is powerful stuff that really makes a difference. And I want to do that with my life.
Excellent. That's fantastic. So in terms of where you were before you actually gained this knowledge to turn things around so that the audience can relate, can you give some specific examples as to what was coming up for you at that time?
Yeah, my husband and I just celebrated our 30th anniversary, which feels like a miracle to me, but this was about 3 years ago. And what was happening is that we had one specific issue that continued to come up throughout our marriage. And it was not being addressed by any of the books that I was finding, by any of the conferences we were attending, by the counseling we were meeting with. And it was starting to have a ripple effect and affecting other areas of our relationship. And it was really an area that we couldn't even talk about because it would cause a fight and a Cold War and all of that. And I was putting my focus so much on this one area that I was losing sight of the 80% of our marriage that was really strong and healthy and completely zoned in. So one of the things I always talk to ladies about is choose your focus wisely, because what we focus on increases. And so if we focus on what he's not doing or what we wish he would do, we're going to spend most of our time unhappy. But if we turn our focus and start to look for all the things that he is doing right, that we do love about him, then our mood and our direction will be much more positive. And you know the saying, if mama ain't happy, nobody's happy. Right? So we really need mama to be happy. Right?
Yeah, happy wife, happy life, sort of
yes,
that quote. So what was it? Would you mind sharing what that focus was for you at that time, you know, that you were focusing on that you wasn't doing, that was making you feel resentful and unhappy?
Yeah, we really had a imbalance in sex drive, and that was where I had put all of my focus, and it really put so much pressure on the relationship and made something that should have been fun and light and connecting into something that was really heavy and a lot of pressure around it, which is never good.
No. Well, thank you for sharing that, because I'm sure there are plenty of listeners that are going to resonate with being probably in that space. And I don't know if you can give other examples, from people that you specifically work with, as to what their focus has been, so that, again, other audience members can relate to probably other issues that might be something that's happening for them now where they're putting their focus.
Mm-hmm. Well, I had a lot of blind spots in my life, and I find that with my clients as well, where I thought I was a respectful wife. I thought I didn't complain all the time. But when I raised my awareness up, I found, oh my goodness, I complain so much. And complaining is really a separator, right? People are repelled by complaining. They're not attracted to it. And when we want more attention and affection from our spouse, we need to show up as fun and light, right? That's what attracted them to us in the first place. When we got together, I wasn't a complaining nag. I wasn't a woman who told him how to drive and told him what to wear and tried to control every aspect of his life. I didn't advise him on his work, but as the marriage went on, I became those things and I wasn't aware of it. So I had all these behaviors that were causing him to really avoid me in a lot of ways. And then I'm confused and perplexed. Why aren't you wanting to be? And I'm getting graspy, which again, unattractive, right? So I think that our root problems as females so many times are the same, like that, like control and complaining and not being grateful, things like that. And they show up in some different flavors, but the root is the same. So if we can start being aware of our complaining, if we can start intentionally using gratitude, it really changes the flavor of our home, not just with our spouse, but with our kids too. At work, the way that we show up is different. And Lyn, what's been so powerful for me is discovering that when I show up differently, people respond to me differently.
Absolutely. And as you quite rightly said, where focus goes, energy flows. So if we're focused on negative things and what he isn't doing right, or in our perspective, what he isn't doing right, because perception is all there is, isn't it? Then we're going to get more of the same, aren't we, until we change our perception.
So true. Yeah, a fresh perspective is one of the keys of my coaching practice, is that when my clients tell me what's happening, that I'm able to hear their thinking and read between the lines and try to find, wow, it sounds like your husband did this that was really nice and helpful, because they have completely overlooked that to focus on where their thing is. Like, yeah, but he didn't blah, blah, blah. And I'm able to say, look what he did do.
Yeah,
Really
absolutely. And that is a real eye-opener for many women, isn't it? To realize actually it's not helpful to just keep pointing the finger at him and saying it's you, it's you, it's you, because there obviously is a responsibility on us to understand why is that situation like that, and take responsibility for what is our part in that.
I love that you said that. Yeah, I think responsibility and accountability is so important, because as long as I'm pointing the finger at him and saying he needs to change and he needs to do this, I am completely powerless, right? Because I have no power to change him or anybody else for that matter. My kids, my boss, nobody. My only power is right here on my page to change me. And so I spent a lot of years pointing the finger and feeling miserable and hopeless and like a victim. Like I can't be happy until he does XYZ. When the truth was I had the power all along to make the changes in me that caused him to respond to me so much differently. And that's where the power is, when I get onto my own paper and start making my own changes.
I love that you said that. That's great, because I feel that, we're not actually educated about this, and quite often we don't have parents that are great role models. We don't have teachers that are usually great role models in terms of what we're educated about in terms of healthy relationships, because they've probably not got healthy relationships themselves. So this is such an important topic to share and offer those insights and gems of awareness, isn't it?
Yes, I'm so glad you brought that up. And I want to say to the women who are listening, of course you don't know how to fix your marriage. Of course you're struggling. No one has ever taught us these things. Just like you're saying, we were busy in high school and college learning things like geometry that we've never used again. And nobody talked to us about how to have a successful love relationship. So you know what happens so much of the time is we take the skills that we've used to be successful at work and in the corporate and in the office, and we try to bring them home and use them in our marriage, and they are ineffective. So I tell ladies all the time, at work, it's about the bottom line, and it's about getting it done, and it's about delegating the tasks. And when you try to bring that power position home, it does not create that desire and that magnetism that we really want in our romantic life. So we really have to take that hat off at the door and change into a softer, more feminine hat when we get home. And rather than delegating and telling everybody what to do and all of those things, we've got to soften up and be more of our feminine side. And I talk about expressing desires in a way that inspires. Because you know what? I used to complain all the time about how dirty my car was and how the whole family was leaving all of their junk in my car. And I'm sick and tired of this, and somebody needs to clean my car. And guess what happened? Nothing. My whole family would just scatter and say, get away from
Or
mom.
just crickets that you can hear in the background.
That's right. Nobody ever did anything about the dirty car. When I learned how to express my desires in a way that inspired, I said one day, everybody's in the car, and I said, I would love to have a clean car. And guess what happened? My husband said, oh, I can take it and get it cleaned. And he took it and got it all cleaned and vacuumed. And I was like, are you kidding? It's that easy. All he needed was the information of how to make me happy, because he loves me and he wants me to be happy. And that is how your husband feels too. That's what I want to say to your listeners. Your husband's number one priority is that you're happy. That's when he feels successful as a man and as a husband. So just give him that information. I would love a clean kitchen. I would love, a dinner out tonight. I would love. And then let him figure out how to do it. Maybe he wants to wash the car himself. Maybe he wants to pay one of the kids to wash it. Maybe he wants to take it to the car wash. None of that is any of my business. I just know my final result is I would love to have a clean car.
And you know what? Sometimes they won't actually do it, and that, you've got to be good with that as well.
Yeah, you're so right? We have to let go of expectations. I read something the other day that said an expectation is a resentment under construction.
Yes.
And I thought, yes. And to me, in my opinion and in my experience, resentment is the poison of your marriage.
Absolutely. So you've got to express your desires, but then not actually put out any heavy expectations, because what I do know is that men can feel a big, heavy burden of weight of those expectations energetically. And that would be probably a reason why you wouldn't see a result.
I agree very much. And you always hold the space that maybe I will go clean the car, right? I'm capable of it too.
Absolutely. And then, of course, once the actual act is done and he's done a great job, or regardless of actually if it's 100% great, you can always show that gratitude and appreciation for it, can't you?
Oh, the gratitude goes so far. We all like to be appreciated for our input, for the things that we are bringing to the relationship. And so I just invite women to be a detective. Find all the wonderful things that your husband does that make your life easier, and pour on the gratitude, just like you do with your kids, right? Because everybody likes to be appreciated, and people do more of what they're appreciated for. And sometimes when we're raising kids, we say, we need to watch for the things they're doing that are good, right? Because when we're raising kids, we're always looking to correct and refine and mold and all those things. And sometimes as a mom, I can take that view over to my husband and almost try to correct and refine and mold him. And that doesn't feel romantic. That feels motherly. And so I realized I was doing some of that and I needed to stop. And I needed to treat him like a smart, capable man, because that's who I married.
Absolutely. And, you know, the more you think that and believe that and affirm that, the more you will receive that.
Yes, exactly. Yes. And tell him, I love the way you did that. You make such great decisions. You did a fabulous job. I knew you could do it. All of those things. Catch him doing something right, just like you would with your kids.
And another thing I think we can be sometimes guilty of is giving the praise and giving the thanks and giving the appreciation, but then undoing it with the next sentence we say. Like you could say, oh, great, you've done a great job on the car. Oh, you forgot to empty the ashtray. You know,
Yes.
is a complaint, isn't it? That's just slipped out your mouth and probably undone the great pride he was feeling
Yes.
initially in feeling appreciated.
Boy, you've got it, Lynn. You've got it. I just coached with a gal yesterday who needed to deliver an apology. And so we were kind of practicing on the call. How would you deliver this apology? And it was really, really hard for her to not excuse her behavior and put in but this is why I did it. But this is why I did it. And I kept encouraging her, let's keep it clean. I apologize for being disrespectful and say what you did with no excuses, with no reasons, just a clean apology. That was tough.
Yeah, I mean, again, you know, we're not sort of taught this information, and like we can get conditioned into going, but yes, but and justifying, can't we? Which then negates and doesn't feel like an apology.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. We want to keep it clean. But like you said, we don't know these things. So that's why I love what I do is I get to teach and help a woman see through her husband's perspectives and then change hers. And sometimes we can hear a heart message in a really difficult conversation with our spouse. Another lady I was coaching with the other day, her husband had some really harsh words for her that were really hurtful. And I just encouraged her to sort through them and find out what is his heart message. And the one word that he kept bringing up as he was shouting was, you don't respect me. That was the common theme. It was like, oh, he's hungry for respect. Okay, we know how to do that. So we're just going to start plugging in, some more respect into that relationship and talking about what does it look like to a man to be respected in these things. Because as women, we don't know, because our minds and hearts don't work the same way. We're very different.
And I think that is the key, because I think, especially, I suppose, currently, as well as a few decades ago on the back of the feminism brigade, I think we lost our way a bit in terms of what does actually equality mean? And equality means, having the same rights as men. It means, having the same opportunities, the same facilities, and the same pay and things like that. It doesn't mean being the same as men, does it?
No, our differences are beautiful. And what we really want to do is highlight them, not negate them. Because like I said before, if I come in with my power hat on from work and my husband's in with his power hat, we're going to, there's going to be, yeah, we're going to butt heads. There's going to be strife there. But if I can come in with my softer feminine side, he comes in with his strong masculine side, which my feminine side brings out his masculine side. Then we're like magnets to each other. We're attracted to one another. The opposite is what brings the attraction. And that's what I think we've lost a lot, like you're saying, is in believing the lie that we're the same, when the truth is that we're equal in value, but different. And the different is beautiful. and let's highlight it and not try to sweep it away.
Yeah, because in my experience and certainly with working with women over the last few decades, it's the polarization of the masculine and feminine energies which creates the passion and the sparks and the chemistry in a relationship. It's what keeps it's alive. And I think on the back of us misunderstanding what equality actually means, we've been educated and parented even to be more gender neutral, which hasn't then resulted in much passion in our relationships. It's actually decreased that and made us at best just, friends in a relationship.
Yes, I agree with that. Yeah, we need more differences.
Yeah, and
That's what.
embracing that and not trying to be the same as men. I mean, it's all right for us to, like you say, embrace some more masculine energy outside of our intimate relationships, such as in the workplace. Sometimes we do need to be that more do and act and control type energy, which is the more masculine energy in that environment. And also in, say, a competitive sporting arena, we probably need to embrace more of that to be able to compete at our highest level. And sometimes we do need to default into masculine energy if we're fearful or, in a dangerous situation. But we don't need to bring that, like you say, into our relationships. And, it's quite nice to walk through the door and be able to, take the trousers off and give him, excuse my
Yes, it's
language, his
quite
balls back
nice.
when we come
Yes, it's
into
quite
our
nice. And
home.
I do find in my marriage that as I show up feminine and soft and as a receiver, my husband loves to show up as my hero and really take care of me. And then that gives me that feeling of being cherished and adored and taken care of, which I think is what we love as women. And that's when we feel loved and taken care of. And we've been trying to get it in all these other ways, but they haven't been effective. We've been trying to demand it, or at least that was me.
Yeah,
Do
I've
more.
been through that phase too, where I was wanting to demand it, and I've also been through the unhealthy side of which you sort of touched on initially as well, of then getting to a point where I was needy and desperate, which isn't an attractive energy either. That's a very unattractive, I suppose, unhealthy feminine energy rather than the healthy feminine energy
Hmm.
when we're
Hmm.
stuck in victim mode and feeling powerless.
Yes. And one of the first things I work on with a new client is self care because so many women have gotten buried underneath responsibilities and children and bills and work and all the things, and they've forgotten to take care of themselves. And it's really hard to show up happy when you're wrung out and overwhelmed and overworked and overtired and all the things. And so we've got to start taking care of ourselves because miserable people don't have happy relationships. Happy people do. So let's get you happy first.
And not put that onus on him to provide and make it his job to make us happy, because we need to provide that first and foremost for ourselves, don't we?
Exactly. Again, it's that taking responsibility and being accountable. I am 100% accountable for my happiness. Now, my husband can pile on, which is lovely, but I will take care of me and make sure that I'm able to show up for my family and for my husband, for my friends, for my work, happy, because that's up to me.
Yeah, because once we get depleted, we're not in a position where we can be our best selves for other people. Like you say, let alone your spouse, but kids and wider friends and family will not see your best self if you're not looking after yourself first and foremost.
And women have so much trouble with that. We just give and serve and work and do all the things. And that's when we get resentful, right? Why isn't anybody helping me? Why isn't anybody pitching in? Well, it could be that you've just taken over, and that happens a lot. It could be that when they tried to help, you criticized them, and that happens sometimes. But there are ways to get more help, more attention, all of it from your spouse and your kids. And I love to help with that.
Certainly. And you know what? Even if the help isn't 100% the same as what you would do, such as, you might have a specific way of loading the dishwasher, for example. Even if he doesn't load the dishwasher exactly the same, don't sweat about it. Just be grateful that he's done it.
That's right. That's right. That's another one of the skills that I lean on a lot is relinquishing control, right? Because when we have to control everything, then we usually end up doing everything because nobody does it the same way.
And it's fine not to have somebody do it the same way. In fact, it's healthy.
Yes. Yes. We have to accept others and love them where they are and allow them to be right. It doesn't always have to be my way.
True, because quite often we do sort of think, oh, our man's got that attitude, or it's my way or the highway. But actually, when we look at our own behaviour sometimes, such as comparing how they do a domestic chore to how we do it, we're doing the same thing.
Yes, yes. I used to put a lot of pressure on myself to get everything done, right? I'm just running here to there, the laundry, the dishes, the kitchen, the floor, everything, just working myself into a frenzy. My husband would be relaxing on the couch and he'd be patting the cushion next to him going, come here and sit down, watch a show with me. And I would just think, how can you sit there doing nothing when there's so much that needs to be done around here? And I realized that, you know what? I was jealous of his ability to relax, his ability to take care of himself and say, I'm tired. I don't want to do dishes right now. I want to sit on the couch and relax. And I didn't have that ability. I just had to go until I collapsed into the bed. And it really created a lot of resentment for me. And why? Just because I did not know how to take care of myself. I did not know how to ask myself, how do I feel right now and what do I want? Because guess what, Lyn? The dishes will be there tomorrow and I will have a fresh batch of energy to handle them. So now when my husband pats the sofa, I realize, wow, I have this man who loves me and wants to spend time with me. And he doesn't want me to work myself into a frenzy. He wants me to come and relax with him. What a joy, what a privilege. And I go and sit with him and I mess with those stupid dishes tomorrow.
Excellent, love it. So, Cristie, it's been a fascinating conversation. What would you say is your best contact information for those audience members that would like to connect with you and find out more?
Yeah, I'd love for him to reach out on my website. It's relationshipswithamap.com. And when they get on there, they'll have an opportunity to download that PDF about the 5 mistakes that women make when they're trying to get attention and affection from their man.
Fantastic. So any final words of wisdom around how to get more attention and affection from your man that you can leave the audience members with?
Yeah, I just want to encourage ladies that you are very influential. And when you change, other things are going to change. So don't underestimate how much power you have in the relationship. And that's why I always say that I help women become ridiculously happy with or without their husband's involvement. We don't have to do couples counseling. I can just work with women and turn the whole relationship around. So there is hope.
Absolutely. And you said the right 100% thing there around just working with one partner, which is usually women, I have to say, because it's usually women that are the people that reach out, or the feminine energy in a relationship that are more open to self-help. Men are a bit more autocratic, aren't they, and want to solve problems for themselves. But just by you changing your attitude and perspectives and becoming more aware, in response to that, your husband will positively change as well.
Exactly. That's been my experience over the years with coaching and witnessing my coaching and others' coaching. I have seen so many marriages transformed, and I want women to know that it's not a specific type of marriage. I've had women in crisis where their husband has another woman, all the way down to women who just feel like things are a little dull and want to shine it up a little bit. So it's all the way across the board. You would be amazed at what we can address through coaching.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Cristie. I've really enjoyed this conversation, and thank you for showing your own personal examples and being vulnerable and courageous enough to do that with me today.
Oh, you're so welcome, Lyn. Thank you for having me.
So it just leaves me to say, listeners, that true love starts with opening our hearts. And until next time, Goodbye for now.
Thanks for listening to the Hearts Entwined podcast. You can follow Lyn via the Facebook group Two Hearts Entwined, or search Lyn Smith, inspirational speaker, at LinkedIn, or email lyn@hearts-entwined.com. That's LYN@hearts-entwined.com. Remember, true love starts with opening our hearts.